So we all are aware about how exactly a goods can be defined. We are aware about the fact that anything to be called as a goods, one must know that there is a scarcity and there has to be a utility. Of course, undoubtedly there has to be a value. Only then a thing can be called as goods. Goods is not just restricted to a physical existence of a commodity or a product, but the definition of goods also inclusive of the services. Those are all called as non-material goods. So when I have to write the features of the goods, I would rather say that goods have a utility, they have scarcity, they have a value. Value can be value in use or value in exchange, and they could be material goods or non-material goods. We discussed with respect to its nature about what exactly is material goods and what is non-material goods. We also discussed about economic goods and non-economic goods. Economic goods are those for which we have to pay the price, whereas non-economic goods are free goods. They are freely available. They are not scarce. They are available in abundance. Although they have a utility, but because they are not available, there is no scarcity of those goods. They are available in abundance. That is why they are called as free goods. After that, we also discussed goods based on its durability, that was durable goods and perishable goods. We discussed goods based on ownership, which was private goods and public goods. But then, the most important component of the whole chapter with respect to the goods would be classification of goods based on its use. So, my dear friends, this can be divided into consumer goods, which is also called as consumption goods. Then we have capital goods. So first is consumer, second is capital goods, third is final goods, and fourth is intermediate goods. Each of them has got lot and lot of things to be studied. मतलब मान लो कि there is so much to offer under each segment. When I talk about consumer goods, the title itself is self-explanatory. It says that consumer goods or consumption goods are those goods which are meant for direct consumption. That means they can be used for direct consumption by the consumer at large. Think about us, day in and day out. You need milk, fruits, vegetable, toothpaste, newspaper. So those are all called as a consumption goods or a consumer goods. Now in this also, we have refrigerator, we have sofa sets, we have TV sets, we have mobile phone, we have geyser, we have furniture, we have gadgets. So what about them? Are they consumer goods? Of course, yes, even they fall within the category of consumer goods. So we need to divide among consumer goods also. One, single-use consumer goods. Single-use consumer goods would be milk, single-use consumer goods would be vegetables, fruits, etc. Then we have durable consumer goods, sofa sets, TV sets, mobile, geyser, gadgets. These are all durable consumer goods. Then we have semi-durable. Semi-durable means the life of that product would be more than a year. Repeatedly you can make use of that particular product, but life will not as long as that in case of sofa set or a TV set. Take for example shoes, clothing. So these are all semi-durable consumer goods. And then at the end we have services. We do receive services like services of a barber, services of a hairdresser, services of a makeup artist, services of a person who iron our clothes, washerman, car washer, etc. So on and so forth. So my dear friends, when it comes to classification of goods based on its usage or a use, we would say that first classification will go for consumer goods. Consumer goods are those goods which would be directly consumed by a consumer like us. So they can also be categorized into single use, durable, semi-durable and service. Single use, that means what will happen? The product will not lose its identity in its process. We will be directly consuming it. Milk, vegetable, fruits as already discussed with you all. Then we have durable consumer goods where we have sofa sets, TV sets, mobile gadgets and so many other things are there where the longevity of the product is there. Though are consumable goods, You can talk about refrigerator, oven. They are all white goods which are durable consumer goods. Then we have semi-durable like shoes, shirt, clothing, towel, etc., etc. After that, we have services that can be included again in the consumer goods profile only. Now, my dear friends, after moving on to consumer goods, we have a capital goods. So, what do you mean by capital goods? See, capital goods is generally meant for a producer. Capital goods are those goods which are actually required by the producer for the purpose of production of other goods and services. Now, they are the goods which are needed by the producer. Probably it might be installed in the factory. It would be in the nature of machinery, plant, machinery, furniture, equipment, fittings, could be anything which is in the nature such that they will be needed for the purpose of production of other goods and services. Sir, example you talk about a plant or a machinery which is engaged in production of tires, a machinery that is engaged in production of mobile phones, a machinery that is engaged in production of ceiling fans, a machinery that is engaged in production of, let us say, marker pens. So you must have noticed even in sugar industry, if you have a sugar mill, then huge plant and machineries are installed to convert sugarcane into sugar. So all those machineries which will form part of the process of my production, they will be a capital goods. Remember, my dear friends, capital goods are needed by the producer. They are needed for the purpose of production of goods and services. So you gave me an example of production of goods. But sir, can you give me an example where the services are produced with the help of machinery? Of course, yes. Talk about ATM machines. What are ATM machines? Sir, ATM machines are installed by the bankers. And what happens is a customer visits the ATM machine, interact with the ATM machine and withdraw the money from the ATM machine. So basically you can see that the interaction is between a person and the machine. Machine render you the services. Now that ATM machine of course is a capital goods. They are the goods which are purchased, which are installed with the objective of rendering or providing services to you. Henceforth, they are also called as a capital goods. So my dear friends, when I talk about consumer goods, we know that consumer good is also called as consumption goods. Single use, vegetables and fruits. Durable use, TV sets, fridge, refrigerator. Semi-durable, shoes and clothing line. And service, you can talk about services of barber, etc. When we talk about capital goods, so one must know that capital goods are basically, you can say, goods that are generally installed, used, purchased by the producers. They are the one who are going to install it in their factories for the purpose of production of other goods and services. That is why capital goods are also called as investment goods. They are also called as investment. See, final investment goods are also called as capital goods, or final producer goods are also called as capital goods. So why do we call them investment goods? We have to invest in plant and machinery. Only if I invest in plant and machinery, or I install plant and machinery, I will be able to manufacture goods. I'll be able to produce other goods. So they are the one which is needed for the purpose of production of other goods and services. Capital goods are also called as investment goods, or they are also called as producers goods. Alright, sir, understood. Goods as far as usage is concerned can be classified into consumer goods, can be classified into capital goods. Then we have final goods. Now what do you mean by final goods? The word itself again describes. See, remember, goods which are directly available for the final consumption. No further processing is required. They are not meant for the purpose of resale. They are outside the production line of the factory, outside the production process of the factory. Generally, we say that outside the boundary of the production line. So one must understand that what do you mean by the final goods? So final goods are those goods which are ultimately required by the end user. Sir, example you talk about Maggi, tomato ketchup, they are all final goods. So what about ceiling fan? Final goods. What about air conditioner? Final goods. What about mobile phone? Final goods. No further processing is required. Just take the SIM card, install it and start talking. Hello, how are you? Final goods. So final goods are actually not meant for resale. I buy goods for the purpose of my self-consumption. I don't buy to resell it. So final goods are outside the purview of my boundary of production line. So one must understand, if someone asks you, what are the features of final goods? First feature, sir, they are not meant for resale. Second feature, sir, they are the goods which are required by the ultimate user. The end user will consume the product. Absolutely right. So final goods could be a consumer final goods or a producer final goods. A consumer final goods like Maggi, tomato ketchup, etc. Those are all consumer final goods, can be directly consumed by the consumer. Whereas a producer final goods could be in the nature of, let us say, oven, machinery, equipment which are required for the further production of goods and services. So final goods could be a consumer goods, a final goods could be a capital goods. Now final goods, when I'm talking about consumer goods, meant for the direct consumption by the consumer, the end user. No further processing is needed. No resale, absolutely not possible. Whereas when I'm talking about final capital goods, those are actually required by the manufacturers. They could be heavy machinery, high-end machinery, expensive to expensive blast furnaces which are required in heavy metal and steel industry. Even if you go to say the manufacture of automobiles, they need heavy machineries for the purpose of production of cars, tires, various accessories. So final goods could be of a consumer final goods or a producer final goods, not meant for the purpose of resale. Ultimately, it will be used by the consumer. Your consumer over here could be a consumer or a producer who needs final capital goods for the purpose of further production of goods and services. In other words, ध्यान रखना बच्चों, फाइनल गुड्स कंज्यूमर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अलग होगा और प्रोड्यूसर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से अलग होगा. प्रोड्यूसर को मशीनरीज चाहिए ताकि वो बाकी सारे चीज़ों का उत्पादन प्रोडक्शन कर सके. कंज्यूमर को अल्टीमेट प्रोडक्ट चाहिए, तो कंज्यूमर फोकस करेगा अल्टीमेट प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर. दैट मीन्स, एज आई टोल्ड यू, इफ यू टॉक अबाउट अ सोप, अल्टीमेट प्रोडक्ट. इफ यू टॉक अबाउट अ सैनिटाइजर, अल्टीमेट प्रोडक्ट. If you talk about a Maggi, ultimate product. So those are final goods for the purpose of consumption by the consumer. End user लेगा, उसको use कर देगा. Not meant for resale. Whereas final goods could be a capital goods also. जैसे कि for example, मान लो I have made a machinery which will help me manufacture soap. A machinery which will help me manufacture sanitizers. A machinery which will help me to make ketchup pulp. A machinery that will help me to process milk and make paneer or cheese or something like that. So when I talk about a final machinery which can form a part of my production, then those are called as final capital goods. So we are through consumer goods, capital goods, final goods. End user will be using it. It is out of the boundary of the production line. Why? Because once you cross the production boundary line, no further processing, no further value addition. Ultimately, either it will be installed or it will be consumed. In case if it is a consumer goods, it will be consumed. And in case if it is a producer goods, that means it is a capital goods, it will get installed somewhere for the purpose of production of further goods and services. No further resale. And this final goods could be classified as a consumption final goods, or that means consumer goods or capital goods. Remember, my dear friends, they are also called as final consumption or final investment. Final consumption from consumer point of view and final investment from producer point of view. Because producer need to invest in his factory to upgrade so that the production can happen in anticipation of demand. Nowadays we'll have to scale up the production in anticipation of the demand. So we need newer and newer technology, newer and newer machinery, and this new machinery need to be installed in the factory. So ultimately the final goods in the form of the capital goods will be needed by the producer so that they can install and carry out the production in anticipation of demand. With this, we are done with consumer goods, capital goods, and of course, yes, final goods. Now, there is a lot of debate with respect to final goods and intermediate goods. Many people sometimes fail to understand the distinction between final goods and intermediate goods. it's very very important and essential. There is a thin line of difference between consumer goods and producer goods also. So first let us understand the difference between the consumer goods and the producer goods. So consumer goods will be demanded by the ultimate consumer, the ultimate user. They will use the product, they will consume the product. Whereas producer goods, that is capital goods, is also called as producers goods. So they will be demanded for the purpose of production of goods and services. Here, so there is a direct demand for consumer goods, whereas there is no such direct demand for capital goods. It's a derived demand. They are needed for the purpose of production of consumer goods. Absolutely right. So it's a very very simple thing. Consumer goods, so ultimate user, end user, directly required for the purpose of consumption. Over here, capital goods are not required directly for the purpose of consumption, but we need it so that we can produce more goods and services. Usually the cost is low, whereas over here the cost is very very high. So one must understand this is always from the consumer point of view, and that is always from the producer's point of view. Have a look with respect to the distinction between the two. These goods are directly satisfying the human wants. All the wants that you need with respect to, you talk about your Maggi or your ketchup or your wafers or your ultimate product like soap or an oil or a shampoo, etc. They are all consumer goods. Capital goods are, these goods are indirectly satisfying human wants. So why indirectly? Because they will be installed in the factory, with the help of which you will get a regular supply of consumer goods. So they are not directly demanded by the consumer. But without this, consumer goods will not be able to produce. So these goods are used by consumers, whereas these are used by the producers. They are ultimately called as investment also, my dear friends. And these goods may be perishable as well as durable. Talk about vegetables. Talk about fruits. They are perishable. Talk about sofa sets. Talk about gadgets. They are durable. So my consumer goods could be durable. Yes, sir, durable. Could be single use, perishable also. But my capital goods will surely be durable. Only then they will be able to manufacture goods and services. Otherwise, not possible. Talk about ATM machine. It renders you service. It's durable in nature. Once installed, it can last for 5, 10 years. So that's durable. So the distinction between the consumer goods as well as the capital goods was very, very simple. These are the very simple points. Let me give you a recap of the whole distinction between the consumer and the producer goods, or probably you can say consumer and the capital goods. Consumer goods will be directly required or will directly satisfy the want of the consumer, whereas capital goods will not directly satisfy the want of the consumers. Consumer goods basically are either durable or perishable in nature, whereas capital goods are more or less generally by and large would always be durable in nature. Consumer goods, the expenditure would quite low. That means the amount of expenditure involved in consumer goods will be lesser. Generally, by and large, the expenditure on the capital goods will be higher. Consumer goods will be demanded by the consumers, whereas capital goods will be demanded by the producers. So these are 4 points. If you keep this in your mind, I think it's more than enough to write such a simple distinction between. Let's move on to the distinction between the final goods and the intermediate goods. Before we move on to the distinction between the final goods and the intermediate goods, let me make you understand what exactly are the intermediate goods. You know, intermediate goods are those goods which are incomplete in their process. For example, let us say I am into a manufacturing of a garment. Now try and understand, this illustration has been cited earlier also with you all. If I am into a manufacturing of garment, first thing is I'll have to look for a farmer who is a cotton grower. That farmer will sell his cotton to a spinning mill, a mill that will spin the cotton into the yarn. The yarn will further be converted into, you can say, fiber or a thread. That thread would further be converted into cloth. Cloth will convert it into garment. So there are so many processes. At each process, directly from cotton till the garment, there was an involvement of lot many processes. Cotton got converted into fiber, then into thread, then into cloth, then into garment. So at each stage, right from stage 1, cotton, till the last stage, garment, It has undergone various stages. At each such stage, the goods were an intermediate goods. Any goods which requires basically further processing or which can be further processed for the value addition, they are called as an intermediate goods. Intermediate goods are generally resold or available for resale within a year of production. That means these goods can be resold within a year of production. I am buying cotton from the farmer. Now, if I am converting that cotton into thread, I can sell the thread in the market because that thread will become raw material for the cloth maker. A person who is engaged in dyeing, weaving, or manufacturing of a cloth, he will surely buy the thread from me. Or thread will become a raw material for him and he will make a cloth. Of course, yes, cloth can further be processed in the process of production for the purpose of manufacturing of garments. Now, when cloth will be sold, so cloth will also be regarded as an intermediate goods, not an ultimate goods, for a simple reason that it can be further processed also and it can also be resold in the market. So anything that can be resold in the market, anything which can be further processed, anything which will lose its identity. Now the thread will lose its identity when it's converted into cloth. Cloth will lose the identity when it is getting converted into a garment. So at every single stage, one must understand that whether or not that particular thing can be processed. Yes, sir, it can be further processed. It can be resold in the market. Yes, sir, it can be resold in the market. Sir, will it lose its identity when it is reprocessed or processed further? Yes, sir. Sir, it will lose its identity. Then in that case, you can say that those goods are intermediate goods. Because my final goods are not meant for resale. My final goods have already crossed the boundary of production. That means the production line boundaries have been crossed by the final goods. Whereas intermediate goods are never going to cross, never, the boundary of production. That means the boundary line of the production cannot be crossed by the intermediate goods. Remember, my dear friends, intermediate goods are those goods which will genuinely form the raw material for someone else. And because it's going to form a raw material for someone else, it cannot be called as a final goods. You talk about diesel. Do you directly consume diesel? No. You will put the diesel into the vehicle for the purpose of running the vehicle. So diesel become an intermediate goods. Diesel can be further processed. Diesel can be resold in the market. So many petrol pumps are there who are selling the diesel once it is manufactured. It is available for resale in the market. So my dear friends, there are many such goods and many such examples where we can talk about intermediate goods. It all depends upon the nature of the producer and the consumer. It also depends upon the process of production that we undergo. So my dear friends, when it comes to identifying whether a particular goods are an intermediate goods or a final goods, how are you going to make a differentiation between the two? So I'll give you very simple point of differentiation between the two where you will be able to judge whether a particular goods are final goods or an intermediate goods. See, 3-4 points are very simple. In case if goods can be are available for the purpose of resale, that means those are intermediate goods, because final goods are never available for resale. So final goods not meant for resale, intermediate goods, so it can be meant for resale. Final goods, they will always be outside the production boundary, whereas intermediate goods, they will be within the production boundary. Final goods, no further processing is required. They are available for final consumption. That means ready to use. So over here, further processing is required. These are acting as a raw material for many producers, whereas final goods can ultimately be used by a consumer or it can be used by a producer. Whereas over here, these goods will surely be used by the producer for the purpose of further processing. In case of final goods, they always form part of my national income. That means their value will be included in the national income. Intermediate goods, so value will not be included in the national income for a simple reason: they are not complete. For example, let us say if I am a manufacturer of a shirt, I have manufactured the shirt, but the shirt are without sleeves and buttons also I have not put up. Tell me, will I be able to sell that shirt in the market? Is it marketable shirt? Will it be fit for consumption for anyone where the sleeves are not there, buttons are not there? So no sir, it is incomplete product. So that means we need some processing on it. We need to fix the sleeves, we need to fit the buttons. Once those are put up, only then it can get converted into a final product. So it is an intermediate product. You can call it sir work in progress. Work has not yet completed, some processing is needed. So we need to keep this shirt into the production boundary so that the further production can happen, further processing can happen, and then it can be converted. Since it is not the final product, so that is why sir it will not be included in the national income. Only the final product can be included in the national income. So for that purpose, final goods will be included in the national income. Intermediate goods will not be included in the national income. Final goods or a final product or a final goods will definitely be outside the production boundary line. Intermediate goods are within the production boundary line. Final goods are available for or ready to use for consumption. So they are not ready to use for a consumption because they are not final goods, but of course a manufacturer can use them for further processing. Final goods cannot be processed further. So they have a unique character because they forms raw materials for many users, many producers, and henceforth, so they will be subjected or prone to further processing. So my dear friends, we have discussed so much about final goods and intermediate goods. Let's have a simple understanding of differentiation between the two. Final goods, they are either, that means these goods will be used either for consumption or for final investment. As I told you, either it will be directly consumed or it will be directly purchased by the producer. This would be definitely consumer goods and this would be producer goods. Intermediate goods, so they are either used for further production or meant for resale. So dear, understand there is a purpose over here, resale. Ready to use by their final user, they are not ready to use. They will lose their identity in the process of production. As I told you, a thread will get converted into cloth, so lost its identity. Cloth will get converted into a garment, so lost its identity. So what about garment? Yes, garment are final goods. So at every stage, cotton is not a final goods. So what about fibers and threads? They are also not a final goods. So what about cloth? They are also not a final goods. They will be processed further. So what about garment, ready-made garment? They are absolutely. They will not be further processed. What about it? So value is included in the national income, whereas value will not be included in the national. They are ready for final use. Of course, they are not ready for because they are intermediate goods. I cannot use sleeves. I cannot use shirt without sleeves, without buttons. I need to process that further. They lie outside the production boundary because no further production or no further processing is required. Whereas over here, production or a process is genuinely needed. So my dear friends, we started today with what are human wants. We understood that for the purpose of want, three things are essential: willingness, desire, and an effort. After that, we discussed what are different types of wants or the characteristics of wants. As far as characteristics goes, we discussed about it. So human wants are unlimited. They are never changing, they are ever changing, never ending. Human wants, so a particular want can be satisfied at a particular point of time. Wants are complementary in nature, wants are competitive in nature, and want basically you can say have a varying nature. That means, so human wants are relative in nature. They change from person to person, place to place, and time to time. For better understanding, wants were further classified into, you can say, want for necessaries, comforts, and luxuries. Necessaries were further classified into, you can say, necessaries for life, necessaries for efficiency, and conventional necessaries. Necessaries for life means without which we cannot live: food, clothing, and shelter. Necessaries for efficiency means if you consume them, it will help you to enhance your efficiency. That means it will increase your efficiency and productivity to perform better. Example: fruits, vegetables, nutritive food, etc. Milk, dry fruits, all those things. And conventional necessities, these are forced consumption. That means they are enforced upon you by the social values, the social fabric, the culture, the tradition that prevails in the society. We often have to gift in case if we go to attend the birthday party of our friends. We often have to give even during Diwali, Ramzan or any festive season. So that's this gifting culture is prominently enforced upon us, and it doesn't look good, or probably we become an odd man out in case if we don't adhere to those social values. So this consumption, though whether we like it or we don't like it, desirable or undesirable, had to be incurred, and that is why we call it a conventional necessity, which is enforced upon us due to the tradition and the culture of the society that we had been following for decades. Then comes comforts. What are comforts? Sir, comfort means in case if you consume, it's not going to increase your efficiency, but if you do not consume, then they will lower your efficiency. I gave you an example of air conditioner. After that, luxuries. So luxuries, of course, everyone enjoys having a luxurious product and its consumption that gives you a very different level of satisfaction, an ultra satisfaction. But then it really need a huge amount of money. Affordability is a most important factor. Generally, it's a matter of a status symbol, a matter of pride in itself, but it could further be a harmless luxury and a harmful luxury. Harmless would be the passion to drive a car, most expensive ones, Jaguar, a passion to drive Rolls Royce or something like that. Many people have a passion to have their own private yacht, their own private jet, etc. Those are all luxuries. Harmful in the sense that few luxury items like opium, or you talk about brown sugar, or you talk about weeds, they are all harmful to the health of the consumer. Henceforth, those luxuries are not recommended. After we did this, we moved further in the direction of goods. And I hope at the start of the class, I have already explained to you all the meaning of the goods when classified. What are the goods? We know that scarcity, utility, value needed for the purpose of defining goods. Goods can be classified based upon its nature. That means material goods and non-material goods. Material goods means the one which exists, the one which can be touched, definite shape, color, size, etc. Non-material goods means those goods which are in the nature of service, cannot be touched but can only be felt. Services of a teacher, doctor, lawyer, etc. Economic goods are the one we have to pay the price for it. Non-economic goods, or you can say free goods, we don't have to pay the price for it because they are available in abundance. Then we discussed about based on its use, which is this. Then we discussed based on durability. So durable goods and perishable goods. So based on ownership, so we have private goods and public goods. With this, my dear friends, the first part of the class comes to an end. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you.